Hello there, and welcome to Space Historians. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're lying in bed, resting on the couch, or wrapped in a soft, warm blanket, let the weight of the day slowly melt away. You've stepped into a quiet corner of the night, and together, we're about to drift gently into a journey that begins where the sky itself seems to end. Before we begin tonight's voyage, I'd love to know where in the world you're listening from and what time it is where you are. It always amazes me that while the night sky may look different from every corner of Earth, the same stars have watched over all who ever looked up. If you enjoy these quiet travels through time and wonder, a gentle like and subscribe help keep this channel orbiting steadily. And if you softly tap the notification bell, you'll always know when our next story begins. For those who've already joined this growing constellation of listeners, thank you. You're part of this voyage, part of this shared story written across the night. Now, take a slow breath in and let it go. Imagine yourself floating just beyond the edge of Earth's atmosphere. The blue fades to black, the stars brighten, gravity loosens its grip. Beneath you, the planet glows faintly, a living marble turning in silence. Ahead of you, closer to the sun than any other world, waits Mercury, small, elusive, ancient. A planet of extremes, where light and shadow meet without sound. This is the story of that silent world, and of what it teaches us about warmth, distance, endurance, and rest. Tonight, we'll drift across its grey plains, trace its slow rotation, and listen to the hush between the heartbeats of its orbit. You don't need to do anything. Just breathe and let the story carry you. The journey begins in silence, not the silence of empty rooms or sleeping cities, but the kind that exists before creation, the pause between light and shadow, between breath and the moment that follows. It is a deep silence that hums, as if the universe itself is holding its breath. That is where Mercury lives. Imagine floating beyond the soft blue edges of Earth, past the moonlight and the glow of our atmosphere, until the warmth of the sun grows stronger, brighter, nearer. The stars fade in its radiance. The light begins to take form, thick and golden, and ahead a small grey world glimmers like a coin cast into the infinite sea of space. That world is Mercury, the smallest planet in the solar system, and the one closest to the Sunday. It moves faster than any other, completing its orbit in just 88 Earth days. Yet, despite its speed, time there seems to stretch and fold, like light bending through heat. For on Mercury, one sunrise can take weeks to climb the sky. Days last twice as long as its years, and the line between morning and night becomes blurred, a slow, elegant dance between fire and frost. As you draw closer, you can feel the warmth of the sun against your faceplate, even through the vacuum. It isn't the kind of warmth you feel on Earth. It doesn't caress or comfort. It presses, it lingers, it becomes a weight. Each photon a particle of memory, a note in the endless song of light that has been playing since time began. Below you, Mercury drifts in solitude. Its surface gleams with pale silver dust and endless craters, a history carved into stone. The great Calorus Basin stretches like a wound across its northern hemisphere, over 1,000 miles wide, surrounded by ridges and valleys frozen since the dawn of the solar system. Each crater, each ridge, a quiet testament to survival, to endurance, to stillness that outlasts storms. You descend toward that ancient plain, and for a moment, the universe holds its breath with you. There is no wind to greet you, no sound to fill the air. There is no air at all, yet the silence feels alive, a living thing, deep and infinite. The ground shimmers faintly in the sun's reflection, the shadows stretch sharp, and black against the pale soil, and in that stillness you begin to hear something beyond sound. The pulse of light, the rhythm of gravity, the memory of movement written in stone. Take a deep breath now, slow, steady, calm. Inhale the heat, exhale the quiet. You are standing where silence meets the Sunday. The horizon curves gently around you, the edge of a small world beneath a vast star. The sun fills half the sky, a golden sea, boiling with fire, beautiful and dangerous. If you could hear it, it would roar louder than any ocean, but here it is wordless. The sound cannot cross the vacuum, so the fury of its flame is seen but never heard. That, perhaps, is the most poetic truth of all, that even the fiercest power in our solar system speaks in silence. Mercury has known that silence since its birth. 4.5 billion years ago, when the sun was young and wild, clouds of dust and metal danced around it, colliding and fusing in chaos. From that storm, Mercury emerged small, dense, and rich in iron. A survivor of cosmic violence, shaped by fire, stripped of everything light could steal. Its atmosphere was torn away, its oceans and skies never born. What remained was pure endurance, a world reduced to essence, nothing unnecessary, nothing weak. You walk slowly across its surface now. Each step leaves no echo, no trace. The dust beneath you has lain untouched for eons, save for the faint footprints left by the robotic messengers humanity sent. They, too, came seeking meaning in silence. Mariner, messenger, and soon Bepi Colombo names written softly into Mercury's endless story. In the distance, cliffs rise like frozen waves, hundreds of kilometers long. They are called scarps wrinkles in the planet's skin, formed as Mercury cooled and shrank. Imagine a world contracting like a heart exhaling. That is how these mountains came to be, the planet itself folding inward, holding its heat close. Above, the black sky never changes. There is no blue, no twilight, no clouds. Only the pure, unbroken dark and the sun's relentless gaze. You close your eyes, and the warmth behind your eyelids feels almost alive. The light doesn't fade. It hums. It becomes rhythm. And that rhythm begins to slow your breathing, soften your thoughts, quiet your mind. You begin to notice the beauty hidden in Mercury's stillness. Each crater catches light differently. Some glow faintly like embers, others fall into shadow as deep as oceans. Between them, long plains stretch like the surface of frozen seas. The rocks shimmer faintly with flecks of metallic dust, remnants of iron and nickel that reflect light like mirrors. In the right angle, the entire planet could be mistaken for a single, shining stone, a jewel resting in the hands of the Sunday. The temperature rises. Your instruments read 400 degrees Celsius, but there is no sensation of heat. Without air, heat cannot travel. You are surrounded by energy that cannot touch you. Light moves, but sound and warmth do not. You are in the purest silence. The solar system offers a silence even the sun cannot break. And yet, Mercury is not lifeless. Beneath its crust lies a molten heart, a metallic core still turning, still generating a faint magnetic field. That field wraps the planet in a whisper of protection, deflecting some of the solar wind that lashes against it. Even here, so close to the source of light, Mercury holds onto its boundary. It does not yield completely. Think of that the next time you face something overwhelming the smallest planet standing before the might of the sun, not through resistance, but through endurance. It doesn't fight the fire, It flows with it. It remains whole because it understands balance. You move again, crossing into the border between light and dark, the Terminator. On one side, the surface burns. On the other, it freezes. The shadow ahead looks solid, like black glass, but as you step into it, the temperature plummets hundreds of degrees in moments, from searing heat to frostbite cold in a single breath. And yet, the silence remains unchanged. Fire and ice share the same stillness. You pause, standing half in shadow, half in light. The horizon stretches endlessly. You could stay here forever, between extremes, between moments, between breaths. The stars begin to appear above the dark half of the sky, sharp, unblinking, eternal. You see Venus shining brightly far away, then Earth, faint and blue, barely visible, so small, so distant, so peaceful. For a long time, you simply stand there, watching. There is no time here, only motion that feels like stillness, and stillness that feels like eternity. The sun slowly dips behind the curved horizon, and the golden light fades into silver. Long shadows reach across the plains, stretching toward you like the hands of ancient memories. Every ridge, every crater becomes a mark of time passing in silence. Take another deep breath. The air in your lungs is borrowed, the sound in your ears imagined, yet somehow it feels as though Mercury breathes with you. Its pulse is slow, a rotation so gentle it could be mistaken for sleep. Perhaps that is what this world has always been doing, dreaming. Dreaming beneath the heat, dreaming through the cold, dreaming of the stars it circles endlessly. As you look up, you begin to sense how deeply Mercury and the sun depend on each other. One shines, the other reflects. One gives, the other endures. Their relationship is ancient, a dance that has never faltered, not even once in billions of years. The sun warms Mercury, but never consumes it. Mercury circles faithfully, never straying, never falling. Together, they form a harmony of extremes, and as you stand there, halfway between the two worlds, between day and night, between heat and frost, you realize that you, too, exist in such balance. You are the space between breaths, the calm between thoughts, the stillness between heartbeats. The sun burns above you, and the darkness waits behind you, but here, in the middle, there is peace. The silence of Mercury is not emptiness, it is completion. It is the soundless hum of existence carrying on exactly as it should. It does not need to speak, because everything here is already understood. Let that stillness fill you now. Let the tension of the day dissolve into the dust of Mercury's plains. Let the warmth of light and the coolness of shadow meet softly in your chest. You are balanced, whole, and safe. Above you, the sun begins its slow descent, and the horizon glows once more, not with fire, but with memory. The light travels endlessly, yet gently fades into the vast black sky. The stars return, steady and bright. The planet turns beneath them, quiet as breath. You close your eyes, you feel the hum of the sun's gravity around you, steady and kind. You drift weightless, timeless, peaceful. Mercury continues its orbit, faithful and unchanging, whispering through the solar winds like a heartbeat the universe can hear. And somewhere in that rhythm you find your own. The silence remains, the sun endures, and in that infinite stillness so do you. The story of Mercury does not end in silence. Like all ancient travellers, it carries a history written in its shadows, tales of discovery, loss, and the unyielding desire to understand what cannot be touched. Far from the planet's desolate plains, across millions of kilometers of emptiness, humanity once sent a messenger. Its name was fitting: Messenger, the spacecraft, a creation of delicate machinery and human curiosity. Launched from Earth's cradle in the year 2004, it sailed for 7 long years before finally meeting the small, sun-baked world it was destined to know. Imagine that journey. 7 years in the deep black, looping through the inner solar system past Earth's soft blue glow, past the amber clouds of Venus slingshotting closer each time, falling deeper into the sun's gravity well. Every orbit brought it nearer to that elusive world of silence and brilliance. It travelled without rest, without sound, without certainty, guided only by equations, by faith in invisible lines drawn through space. And then, at last, it arrived. From the surface of Mercury, the sky was still, black, and mercilessly bright. The sun loomed like a furnace in the sky. There were no clouds, no wind, no voice to greet it. But the messenger did not need words. It answered in data, in images, in the soft hum of transmission. For the first time, humanity could see Mercury not as a distant speck of light, but as a world real, textured, intricate. The spacecraft's eyes traced every ridge, every scar, every field of ancient lava. The craters glowed with harsh clarity under the sun's unfiltered glare. Mountains rose like the frozen breath of gods, and in each photograph, the silence of billions of years was finally heard. You drift closer now, as if following the spacecraft's path moving over the scarred plains, watching the light slide across ridges of stone. Beneath you, the Calorus Basin stretches once more, its rim sharp and proud. You can see the long fractures that radiate outward like the petals of a metal flower, frozen in the instant of creation. Messenger taught us that Mercury is not merely a ball of rock. It is layered, complex, alive in its own quiet way. It has hollow, strange depressions that shimmer with bright material, formed perhaps by evaporated metals. It has cliffs that run for hundreds of kilometers, remnants of a shrinking world. It even has traces of ice hiding in its polar shadows, protected by darkness for eons. Ice on a planet that bathes in the sun's relentless light. The contrast is almost poetic. Even in the hottest places, there is always something cold, something hidden, something waiting. Take a deep breath. Feel that duality again, warmth and coolness, fire and frost, always intertwined. Opposites, a reminder that extremes can coexist without destroying one another. It is a mirror for the balance we seek within ourselves. You float beside the messenger now, orbiting silently above the grey expanse. Its panels glint softly in the sunlight, like wings frozen mid-beat. It circles the planet every few hours, mapping, measuring, remembering. Each orbit peels back another layer of the unknown. Each moment brings clarity to what was once only myth. For centuries, Mercury was a mystery even to those who first saw it through glass lenses on Earth. The ancient astronomers of Babylon called it Nabu, the celestial scribe, the messenger of the gods. To the Romans, it was Mercury, the swift-footed deity of travellers, trade, and communication. They watched how quickly it moved across the dawn and dusk skies, how it appeared and disappeared within days, and they imagined it running messages between the heavens and earth. The name fit, for even now it runs between light and darkness, forever carrying the sun's warmth on one side and the chill of space on the other. It is the messenger of balance, the embodiment of motion that never rests, yet always returns. The messenger spacecraft's final years mirrored that myth. It circled Mercury again and again, lowering its orbit, whispering secrets home. It told us about the strange blue hues in some craters, the chemical fingerprints of sulfur and potassium, the surprising magnetism deep within the crust. With every transmission, it reshaped what we knew of the solar system's beginnings. But all journeys must end. After 4 years of orbiting, the Messenger ran out of fuel. Its final descent was planned, gentle, inevitable. The team on Earth watched from a distance, knowing what would come. As the sun rose over Mercury one last time, the spacecraft drifted toward the surface, silent and steady. There was no explosion, no drama, just a small tremor in the dust, a final heartbeat in the planet's endless story. And in that moment, Mercury received its own reflection, a messenger returned to silence. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that instant, the small spark of humanity meeting the infinite calm of Mercury's surface, the merging of intention and eternity, the echo of connection that needed no sound. Even now, the messenger's remains lie somewhere on that grey plain, hidden beneath the dust, a monument not to conquest, but to curiosity. Its instruments rest quietly, their last signals still echoing faintly in the archives of space. In that union of machine and world, of thought and silence, there is something profoundly human, a reminder that even our quietest efforts leave ripples that outlive us. Above the surface, Mercury continues its orbit. Day stretches into night, night folds back into day. The stars wheel overhead, unchanged. The messenger's shadow is long gone, but the story remains the story of how one small world, invisible to most eyes, taught us the language of stillness. As you breathe now, slow and steady, feel the calm that Mercury embodies. Its heartbeat is slow, its presence eternal. The sun rises and sets in glacial rhythm. Craters remain unchanged for eons. And yet, despite all that stillness, everything moves every orbit, every photon, every thought. It is motion without noise, creation without chaos. Mercury's shadow stretches deep into the universe, not as darkness, but as memory. It reminds us that discovery is not loud or violent. It is patient, soft and steady, like light touching the edge of a crater at dawn. So, as you drift in your own quiet orbit tonight, remember that you too are a messenger carrying light and warmth from one moment to the next, balancing between what has been and what is yet to come. The silence of Mercury waits, endless and kind. The messenger's story lingers in that stillness, reminding us that even in the quietest corners of the cosmos, the universe is always speaking. And all you have to do is listen. The space between light and darkness is not a boundary, it is a world of its own. On Mercury, that space is endless. The twilight edge, known as the Terminator, stretches across the planet like a slow-moving wave, dividing day from night in an eternal dance. Here, shadows stretch for miles. Light bends softly, melting into the cool embrace of darkness. And time itself seems to pause. You drift toward that line now, following the faint glow that marks where sunlight fades. The airless sky remains utterly black, but below, the horizon shimmers with colour, not the blue of Earth's dusk, but deep silvers, golds, and soft coppers. The ground beneath glows faintly, reflecting the last light of the day. Every grain of dust catches the fire of the sun's farewell. You hover above the landscape and notice how the twilight shifts. It is not sudden. The transition from day to night here takes weeks, not hours. The sun sinks so slowly that its rays move across the ground like liquid light. Mountains that were once bright begin to fade into shadow, their edges still rimmed with fire. Craters that were hidden in darkness begin to reveal their shapes as faint light spills into them, like secrets being whispered too softly to hear. There is peace in this slowness. Mercury turns with patience. Every motion feels deliberate. Every change carries the weight of eternity. You breathe in a long, steady breath and imagine yourself matching that rhythm. The planet turns once, and you drift with it, balanced between the glow of fire and the calm of night. In the half-light, the world transforms. Colours emerge where before there were none. The dusty plains turn amber and rose. The rocks glimmer with hints of blue-grey metal. The craters fill with shadow so deep it looks like spilled ink. Each ridge, each stone, becomes an artist's stroke, deliberate, quiet, perfect. And then, for a moment, you see the sun itself, immense and trembling, on the horizon. From Mercury, it appears 3 times larger than from Earth, an ocean of gold suspended in blackness. Its edges ripple and waver as though it's alive. The light moves across your visor, wrapping your vision in warmth. For a heartbeat, it feels as though you could reach out and touch the edge of the star. But you don't. You simply breathe and watch, because this moment, this soft intersection of brilliance and darkness is what Mercury has to teach. That even the smallest world can hold beauty so vast it humbles the sun itself. The temperature here, at the twilight edge, is uncertain. It fluctuates wildly, chasing the sun's retreat. Heat escapes into space as quickly as it once flooded the surface. Shadows stretch farther, deeper, colder. In the same breath, you can feel both the whisper of flame and the kiss of frost. The contrast should be chaos, but somehow it feels balanced, serene. Scientists call this region the liminal zone, a word that means threshold. But standing here, it feels like something more, a meditation. The line between day and night is not an ending or a beginning, but an eternal in-between. It is where opposites meet and agree to rest. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself standing at that horizon, one half of your face warmed by golden light, the other cooled by the long breath of night, your body balanced perfectly between the two, your heart steady, your breathing slow. In that balance, there is peace. There is understanding. When the Messenger spacecraft once passed over this line, its instruments recorded subtle changes in the light, tiny shifts that revealed minerals hidden within the surface. Silicate plains, ancient lava flows, dust that had been scattered by meteor impacts millions of years ago. Each grain carried history. Each shadow held a memory. Even the darkness was a storyteller. The twilight edge is more than a place. It is an experience of stillness. There is no sound, no air, no movement, only the slow unfolding of light. You can almost feel it. The photons grazing across the dust like soft fingers. The planet inhales warmth and exhales cold in an endless cycle, and somehow it feels alive. In your imagination, walk forward. Each step takes you deeper into the dimness. Behind you, the sun glows low and golden. Before you, the stars ignite. They pierce the sky like pinholes in eternity. And then, above the horizon, you see it Earth, faint, blue, and small. So far, yet so familiar. The planet that taught you warmth now glows as a single star in Mercury's endless night. Take another slow breath. Feel the weight of distance and time dissolve. Here, standing between worlds, there is no past or future, no rush or hesitation. Only this, a slow celestial exhale. Mercury's twilight edge reminds you that everything changes, but not all change must be fast. The world turns, but not hurriedly. The stars rise, but not impatiently. Even the sun, blazing and immense, takes its time to fade. There is wisdom in that rhythm, the understanding that movement need not disturb peace. You think of the ancients again, the ones who first watched Mercury from Earth. To them, this tiny world was a messenger between realms, visible only at dawn and dusk. They must have felt this same sense of wonder how the planet shimmered for a few moments before disappearing into light or darkness. They didn't know it yet, but they were seeing what you see now, the threshold between becoming and being. The sun slips lower. The gold fades into red, then copper, then the faintest grey. You can feel the temperature drop with every passing minute. Your breath slows. Your heartbeat becomes the planet's rotation, steady, patient, timeless. The light of the sun finally disappears beyond the rim of the horizon, leaving only the soft glow of reflected light. The stars emerge fully now, brilliant and unwavering. The Milky Way stretches above you, like a silver river. Venus glows nearby, brighter than all others, a guardian of the inner solar system, watching over Mercury's quiet path. And in that moment, you realize the twilight is not an ending, but a promise. The darkness is not absence, but invitation. For even in the deepest shadow, the sun's memory lingers soft, invisible, eternal. Let that thought stay with you. Let it settle into your breath. You are balanced, calm, infinite. You are standing where day becomes night and night becomes possibility. The twilight edge continues to move, slow and graceful, carrying the balance of Mercury across eternity. And you, dear traveller, are part of it now, floating between light and shadow, between knowing and dreaming, between silence and warmth. Breathe in the light that remains. Breathe out the darkness that comforts. Here, on the smallest planet, the universe whispers its greatest truth. Everything is transient. Everything endures. If you could peel away Mercury's silver-grey surface, layer by layer, you would uncover a world that hums quietly with memory. A world whose heart is made not of stone, but of metal, still molten, still alive. Beneath the silence, Mercury beats softly, slowly, like the pulse of something ancient refusing to fade. The crust above may seem unmoving, frozen in the stillness of endless sunlight and shadow, but beneath it, the story continues, a story of fire, pressure, and endurance. The planet's outer shell, roughly 40 kilometers thick, floats atop a mantle of silicate rock, which itself rests upon a vast metallic ocean. Mercury's iron core. Scientists believe that core takes up more than half of the planet's total volume, an immense heart of glowing metal, spinning quietly, holding secrets from the birth of the solar system. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself drifting down through that crust. The ground dissolves around you like dust in water, and the light of the sun fades to darkness. The silence deepens, becomes weightless. Then, far below, you begin to hear something, a faint vibration, a low, steady hum. It is not sound, exactly, not in the way we hear it on Earth, but a feeling, a rhythm that seems to echo inside your bones. That hum is the core itself, molten, magnetic, enduring. Most small planets long ago lost their heat. Their cores cooled into stillness. But not Mercury. Its heart continues to turn, generating a magnetic field, weak yet persistent. Like the faint breath of a sleeping god, it wraps the planet in a soft, invisible shield. That magnetic field tells a story, one of motion and resilience, one that whispers that even in isolation, life, or something like it, continues to stir. As you descend deeper into your imagination, the pressure increases. The crust compresses into shimmering layers: basalt, silicate, ancient lava. Each one is a chapter in the planet's memory. Billions of years ago, Mercury's surface was a sea of fire. Volcanoes burst from the depths, flooding plains with molten rock. When the heat finally subsided, those seas hardened into the smooth grey plains we see today. Every crater, every ridge, every scar you've seen on Mercury's face is the frozen memory of that fiery youth. But even fire leaves echoes. The lava plains still resonate with the energy that once flowed through them. The ridges, called lobate scarps, are reminders of the planet's slow contraction as its molten core cooled and shrank. The surface folded and wrinkled, creasing like the pages of an ancient book. In those folds, the planet hides its whispers, the echoes of creation itself. Imagine walking across such a ridge now. The horizon stretches endlessly, broken only by the curve of distant cliffs. Beneath your feet, the stone hums faintly. You feel it not with your ears, but with your heartbeat. The vibration aligns with your breath, slow and rhythmic. The universe's smallest world speaking in language of pulse. That sound, that feeling carries a lesson. Even in stillness, there is motion. Even in silence, there is story. You do not have to be loud to be alive. Mercury reminds us of that truth, quietly, persistently. Scientists once wondered why this little planet kept its molten core. The answer, perhaps, lies in its closeness to the Sunday. The constant gravitational pull, the tidal flexing, and the bombardment of solar particles, all of them stir Mercury's interior just enough to keep it warm. In the harshest environment, the planet found a way to keep its heart beating. That warmth has no outlet. There are no volcanoes now, no quakes, no cracks that open to the void. The surface remains sealed, a perfect lid over the soft radiance within. All the energy, all the motion, all the memory contained, preserved, patient. Take a slow breath. Feel that containment within yourself, the warmth you hold inside, the energy you conserve, the calm you cultivate. Like Mercury, you carry your own heat quietly. You do not need to show it to know it exists. Above you, in the dark crust, traces of ancient magnetic minerals still shimmer faintly. They align with the field that emanates from below, pointing toward invisible lines of force that loop around the planet like threads of light. If you could see them, they would glow faintly gold, forming a cocoon of motion and protection. Every pulse from the core sends a ripple outward, through the mantle, through the crust, through the emptiness of space. And each ripple says the same thing: I am here. I am still turning. It is humbling to think that Mercury, so small, so overlooked, continues to keep that rhythm while worlds much larger have fallen silent. Mars, cold and dead. The moon, lifeless and still. But Mercury, ever patient, keeps breathing in metal and magnetism. The sun's companion, the cosmic survivor. Imagine now that you can see the planet from afar. You hover in the void, watching as Mercury spins slowly on its axis. With every turn, the magnetic field pulses, invisible but constant. A heartbeat you can almost feel through the emptiness. The light from the sun glances off the metallic plains, and for an instant you see the planet's true essence, not grey, not barren, but radiant, alive, glowing from within. The echoes beneath the crust carry more than energy. They carry memory not of life as we know it, but of existence itself. The heat that remains within Mercury is the same that once flowed through the entire newborn solar system. To feel it is to touch the beginning, to stand within the echo of the universe's first fire. Breathe in that thought. The past is not gone. It hums quietly beneath every moment. You are part of that hum, part of the same rhythm that moves through Mercury's metallic heart, through the sun's glowing core, through your own steady pulse. As you ascend again, rising through layers of rock and memory, the sound fades but not completely. You carry it with you, like a song remembered from a dream. When you finally reach the surface, the sunlight greets you with its familiar gold. The heat presses softly against you, and the silence above is total once more. But you know now that beneath that silence, something lives. A quiet persistence, a hidden warmth, a pulse that never stops. You look around at the endless landscape, the craters, the cliffs, the frozen seas of stone, and understand that every inch of it is alive with memory. Every shadow holds a vibration. Every reflection is a voice. Mercury may not speak, but it listens, it remembers. The echoes beneath its crust remind us that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hums beneath the surface, unseen but unbroken. Let that hum stay with you as you breathe. Slowly, gently. Let it become the rhythm of your rest. Above you, the sun burns quietly. Beneath you, the planet hums. Between them, you float balanced, peaceful, infinite. And as Mercury continues its silent orbit, its molten heart turning in the dark, you drift closer to sleep, listening, breathing, dreaming to the echoes beneath the crust. The sun burns endlessly above Mercury, yet at its poles there is darkness so deep that light has never touched it. Within that darkness lies a paradox. Frozen water, preserved for eons on the closest planet to the Sunday. It seems impossible, almost like a dream, and yet there it is, glimmering faintly beneath the shadows. Close your eyes and imagine descending once again toward Mercury, but this time not to its blistering equator. You are moving toward the far north, where the planet's slow spin tilts its craters away from sunlight. The horizon is dim here, painted in grey and gold, and the airless silence feels thicker, older. The temperature drops rapidly, and the brilliance of day gives way to something softer, a hushed twilight that never ends. Below you, the terrain becomes rougher. Mountains rise like the ribs of an ancient creature, and between them lie vast impact craters, deep enough that their floors never see the sunday. It is within these permanent shadows that something extraordinary waits. Your descent slows, the light fades entirely. For the first time, even Mercury's fierce sunlight cannot reach you. You have crossed into eternal night. And then, like a whisper against stone, a glimmer appears, faint, silvery, ethereal. It isn't the reflection of light from above, but the echo of it, photons bouncing endlessly between the crater walls until their energy softens into a frozen gleam. This faint shimmer outlines what lies hidden. Ice, water ice, on a world that should have none. You hover there for a moment, silent, weightless. Around you, the ground sparkles faintly, like frost beneath starlight. The ice lies mixed with dust, thin layers protected by the crater's eternal shadow. Temperatures here can plunge below negative 170 degrees Celsius. The sun's warmth never reaches this far. It is a world within a world, frozen light preserved at the edge of fire. Scientists first discovered this miracle when radar echoes from Earth revealed unusually bright regions near Mercury's poles. Years later, spacecraft confirmed its solid ice, hidden within the darkness. The discovery was almost poetic, that even in the closest orbit to the Sun, where metal melts and shadows burn, there can still exist the gentlest form of life's element. The ice here did not fall from rain or river, for Mercury has never known clouds or oceans. Instead, it came from the heavens, delivered by comets and asteroids that struck the planet billions of years ago. Their icy cores shattered, scattering frozen fragments across the land. Most of it vanished into the sun's heat, but some found refuge here, in the coldest cradles of shadow. And there it has stayed, untouched, unmelting, waiting. It is strange, isn't it, to think that something so fragile could survive in a place so harsh, that the same light which burns half the planet also guards these shadows. It is as if Mercury itself decided to keep a secret, a reminder that life, in its essence, is endurance. You drift lower, touching the rim of a crater. Beneath your feet, frost crunches silently. There is no sound, but you can almost feel the crystals shifting, breathing. The ice is ancient, perhaps older than the Earth's first oceans. Each molecule a time capsule, each glint a memory of distant stars. Look around. The darkness is not empty. It is full of quiet detail. Rock faces carved smooth by eons, the faint blue reflection of distant sunlight bouncing through the void, and the ever-present hum of Mercury's magnetic heart pulsing below. The silence feels alive here, resonant, as though the entire crater is listening. You kneel beside a patch of frozen dust. For a long moment, you simply observe. There is no wind to disturb it, no movement to break its perfection. It has been like this since before the first creatures crawled across Earth. The stillness is absolute, yet comforting a silence that feels like rest. You remember what scientists said when they found this ice? That it could be billions of years old, predating life itself. In that frozen stillness lies a connection to comets from the outer solar system, to the birth of water in distant nebulae, to the shared history of every molecule in existence. The water here, hidden in Mercury's shadows, may once have flowed through the tails of ancient comets that crossed galaxies to bring the seeds of oceans to worlds like ours. And now it sleeps unbroken, undisturbed, eternal. As you sit there in thought, a subtle realization settles over you. The frozen craters of Mercury mirror something within us, all the quiet corners where we store memories, hopes, and dreams that sunlight cannot reach. These are the places we rarely visit, yet they hold our deepest truths. They are our own hidden reservoirs, preserved beneath the noise and brightness of life. Take a slow breath now. Inhale the stillness. Exhale the weight of time. The ice gleams faintly in the dark, a quiet witness to everything that has ever been. Its existence is not loud, but profound, a soft defiance against the odds, a whisper of persistence that says, even here there is beauty, even here there is meaning. The temperature continues to drop, but you do not feel cold. The silence keeps you warm, the way deep peace often does. The stars above the crater glow brighter now, reflected in tiny shards of ice like scattered constellations beneath your feet. It is as though the universe has placed a mirror here above and below, stars reflecting stars. You realize that Mercury, for all its stillness, is not a dead world. It is a world that remembers. It keeps pieces of the cosmos preserved in its shadows, treasures that speak of origins and endurance. It is a reminder that no matter how close you are to the flame, you can still find a place to rest, a quiet sanctuary untouched by chaos. You rise slowly, your movements gentle, reverent. As you drift upward, leaving the crater's depths, the faint shimmer fades behind you. The darkness gives way once more to the sun's blinding light, and you blink as warmth floods your senses again. The frozen silence retreats, but it leaves its peace within you. Mercury turns below, its poles hidden in perpetual night, its equator ablaze with day. Two extremes, forever circling, forever in balance. You take another breath, feeling that balance inside yourself, the heat and the calm, the light and the shadow, the part of you that burns and the part that rests. You are both. As you drift farther into orbit, you glance back at the polar darkness one last time. Somewhere in that eternal night, water sleeps beneath stone, a glimmer of life's essence held in the cold. It will remain there for millions of years more, untouched, waiting for another curious traveller to listen. And perhaps that is Mercury's greatest secret, that even in the harshest of places, beauty endures, that even in silence, the universe dreams. You close your eyes. The hum of the sun fades to a soft lullaby. The stars stretch across your vision. You feel the frozen light still within you, calm, steady, eternal. And as Mercury spins slowly on, its shadows whisper the same quiet truth. There is always light, even in the coldest dark. If Mercury is the messenger of silence, then the sun is its eternal companion, a presence so vast and brilliant that it defines every moment of Mercury's existence. For billions of years, the planet has orbited closer to the sun than any other, circling its golden fire like a moth around a candle, never quite consumed, never quite free. Theirs is a relationship of devotion and endurance, a cosmic dance written in light. You drift closer now, carried by the invisible tide of the sun's gravity. The light grows so strong that it ceases to be brightness and becomes pressure, a touch that you can almost feel against your skin. You are moving through a sea of photons, each one born from the fusion of hydrogen atoms in the sun's heart. Every ray of light that reaches Mercury began its journey more than 10,000 years ago, forged in heat beyond imagination, wandering through layers of plasma until it finally broke free, a single spark among countless others, travelling across space to meet this tiny world. When it arrives, the sunlight is not gentle. It is fierce and unfiltered, striking Mercury's surface with more than 7 times the intensity it has on Earth. The light here is not merely illumination, it is sculpture, carving the landscape with temperature and shadow. The craters and cliffs become instruments in an endless symphony of heat, where stone itself becomes a note in the sun's song. You can see the reflection from orbit, a blaze of silver and gold so pure that it almost hurts to look at. The planet glows with the intensity of devotion, a small world that has given itself wholly to its star. Take a slow, steady breath. Let that warmth reach you not in heat, but in spirit. Feel the comfort of light against your thoughts. You are not burning, you are brightening. For Mercury, the sun is both destroyer and creator. It strips away the atmosphere, erases shadows, and shapes every molecule of its surface. But it also gives life to its rhythm, the slow spin, the delicate orbit, the balance between day and night. Without the sun, Mercury would be nothing more than a cold, forgotten stone drifting in darkness. But with it, it becomes something radiant, something eternal. Imagine standing on the sunlit side of the planet. The sky above is black, utterly empty, but the ground beneath you blazes with light. Every grain of dust casts a shadow so sharp that it seems etched into existence. The sun itself fills half the sky, enormous, golden, alive. Its light does not flicker, it does not falter. It flows endlessly, bathing everything in the kind of brilliance that silences thought. In that brilliance there is peace, a peace that comes not from absence, but from surrender. Mercury does not fight the sun's power. It absorbs it, it reflects it, it becomes part of it. You watch as the sunlight crawls slowly across the plains. Because Mercury rotates so slowly, its day lasts nearly twice as long as its year. The sun rises not in haste, but with reverence creeping across the horizon, pausing, retreating, then advancing again. The dance of dawn and dusk here is one of patience. It takes weeks for the sun to rise, weeks more for it to set. Time stretches and bends, and the light lingers like a promise. Breathe with the rhythm of that light. Inhale the rising of the Sunday. Exhale the softening of its glare. Each breath a sunrise, each pause a sunset. From orbit, you can see the solar wind's streams of charged particles that rush outward from the sun's corona. They wash over Mercury like invisible waves, shaping its magnetic field into a long, comet-like tail that trails into space. It is the closest thing this airless world has to weather a storm of light and plasma, silent yet unstoppable. Mercury bears the mark of that storm. Its surface is speckled with tiny pits called hollows, formed by volatile materials escaping under the constant bombardment of solar radiation. These hollows shimmer faintly in the light, giving parts of the planet a mysterious bluish tint. They are the fingerprints of the sun, carved lovingly into the stone. The relationship between Mercury and the sun is one of intimacy and respect. The planet never strays too far, never rushes its orbit. It follows an elliptical path, sometimes closer, sometimes farther, like a heartbeat, pulsing with celestial rhythm. And the sun, in turn, holds Mercury gently in its gravity, never releasing it, never consuming it. It is a delicate balance, a lessening coexistence. Too close, and the world would vanish in flame. Too far, and it would freeze into stillness. But here, in the perfect middle, Mercury endures a masterclass in harmony. Take another breath. Feel that balance within yourself. The warmth of energy and the coolness of peace coexisting in your chest, just as fire and silence coexist on Mercury's surface. You are light, but you are calm. You are motion, but you are still. Scientists once described Mercury's orbit as unpredictable, chaotic even. Its path precesses, meaning it shifts slightly with every revolution, tracing a rosette around the sun rather than a perfect circle. For centuries, this motion baffled astronomers. It was not until Einstein's theory of general relativity that the mystery was solved. The curvature of space-time itself bends Mercury's orbit, proof that the sun's gravity is not merely a force, but a shaping of reality. So, even Mercury's motion is a conversation with the cosmos. Its orbit is not imperfection, it is poetry. Each shift, each wobble, each shimmering line through space is a reminder that gravity is not chaos, it is love made visible. You watch as Mercury completes another arc around the Sunday. The light flashes against its surface, then fades, then flares again. It is the universe breathing. It is the soundless pulse of eternity. And as you drift in orbit, you realize something profound. The sun does not burn for itself. Its light is only complete when it is seen, when it touches, when it gives. And Mercury, the smallest of the planets, receives that light with perfect grace. It teaches us that being close to power does not mean losing oneself. It means learning how to endure without fear. The sun's embrace is fierce, but it is also gentle. It warms what it can, spares what it must, and in doing so, it creates balance, light and shadow, fire and frost, beginning and rest. Now, let the image linger. Mercury, circling in slow devotion, bathed in radiance, wrapped in gravity's steady pull. You are watching not destruction, but harmony, not chaos, but rhythm. The light flickers across your vision, soft and golden. The hum of the sun feels almost like a heartbeat in the distance, strong, eternal, comforting. You breathe in warmth, you exhale peace, and in that breath you become part of the same endless motion, orbiting softly, silently, within the sun's embrace. Daylight on Mercury is not like the daylight of Earth. It does not come swiftly, nor does it fade with ease. It lingers patient, unwavering, stretching across the horizon for weeks, casting the world into a perpetual morning that never quite becomes noon. It is as if time itself has slowed, caught in the sun's steady gaze. You drift once more above the planet's sunlit side, watching the glow ripple across its grey plains. The light is strong enough to carve the horizon into crystal edges, every shadow a sculpture. You cannot hear the silence, but you can feel it. It is vast, unbroken, and yet full of meaning. Below, the sunlight creeps like liquid gold across ridges and craters, each glint an echo of the sun's heartbeat. The surface warms, stone by stone, grain by grain, until even the dust seems alive. Mercury's long day stretches endlessly forward, without clouds or breeze, without the comfort of blue, only brilliance and the peace that comes from surrendering to it. Take a deep breath. Inhale the glow. Exhale the tension of time. On Mercury, there are no hours, only light. From the edge of the Calorus Basin, the shadows stretch thin as silk. You imagine standing there, the sun immense and unwavering above you. It feels close enough to touch, yet impossibly far, a paradox of intimacy and distance. The light presses softly against your body, neither burning nor soothing, simply existing, filling the world and your mind with its quiet persistence. On Earth, the rhythm of day and night divides our lives, a cycle that tells us when to wake, when to rest, when to dream. But here, that rhythm dissolves. The sun rises once every 176 Earth days and sets just as slowly. The long day is not a measure of time, but an experience. It is an invitation to slow down, to breathe, to see. As you wander across the terrain, you notice how the colours change. The surface, once silver-grey, begins to shimmer with faint hues, hints of copper and bronze, whispers of red where the minerals catch the light just right. The shadows beneath the cliffs are deep enough to feel cool, though there is no air to carry the chill. Even the light seems alive here, shifting with subtle grace, painting everything in motionless beauty. You sit for a moment at the base of a crater, watching as the sunlight arcs overhead. There is no sound, no wind, only the slow turning of the planet beneath your feet. You think of ancient astronomers, those who once watched Mercury from afar, tracing its swift path across the dawn sky. To them, it must have seemed fleeting, vanishing too quickly to understand. But here, you see the truth. Mercury's speed is balanced by its patience. Its orbit may be swift, but its day is eternal. There is something comforting in that contradiction. The universe, after all, thrives on balance. The quick and the slow, the dark and the light, the heat and the frost, each one gives meaning to the other. Take another breath. Feel the sun's warmth enter your chest. Feel the stillness expand in your thoughts. You are part of this balance too. Above, the stars remain hidden. The sky, stripped of atmosphere, is forever black, even at the height of day. The contrast is startling, the brightest light and the deepest darkness sharing the same sky. The sun burns gold, yet beyond it lies the infinite void, calm and unchanging. It is as though the entire universe has paused to watch Mercury's slow awakening. Time passes, though you cannot measure how much. The sun drifts higher, casting shorter shadows, revealing every grain of dust, every crater, every scar on the planet's face, and in that clarity you feel a strange sense of peace. There is no chaos here, no storm, no rush. Just the endless unfolding of light. The temperature rises. You would expect to feel discomfort, but you don't. The heat here is pure, without malice, without weight. It is the warmth of existence itself, the same energy that fuels stars, births, worlds, and keeps the cosmos alive. You are not burning. You are simply part of that great radiance. As the hours stretch into days, and the days stretch into weeks, you notice how Mercury's surface reflects the sun's glow like a mirror. The planet seems to shimmer, almost breathing with the light. The rocks glitter faintly, the dust dances in invisible waves. Everything here is motion without movement, the illusion of stillness that hides the heartbeat of the universe. You begin to understand why ancient poets once spoke of Mercury as divine, the winged messenger of light, forever close to the sun, yet never consumed. Its very existence is a lesson in balance and endurance. To live so near the fire and still remain whole, that is a kind of grace. You walk across the plain again, tracing the edge where light meets shadow. Each step feels like a meditation. The rhythm of your breath mirrors the slow rhythm of Mercury's rotation. You are no longer separate from this place. You are part of it, moving within its endless day. Eventually, you stop and look up. The sun has hardly moved. It hangs there, massive and golden, a constant presence. The idea of time begins to lose its shape. You no longer think in minutes or hours, but in sensations, warmth, quiet, peace. You realize that Mercury's long day is not a burden, but a blessing. It invites rest. It teaches stillness. In the distance, the horizon shimmers. Heat waves ripple like glass, distorting the landscape into flowing patterns. The light seems to breathe, expanding, contracting, pulsing. You breathe with it, perfectly in tune. It is in this endless day that Mercury reveals its truest form, not as a harsh, lifeless sphere, but as a world of patience and devotion. It accepts everything the sun gives, endures every storm of radiation, and still reflects the light back into space, steady and beautiful. It is not defiance, but harmony. The sun begins its slow descent, though, here. Descent is measured not in hours, but in weeks. The light softens, taking on a warmer hue. The shadows stretch again, reaching across the plains like the slow closing of eyes. You watch the horizon glow faintly red, then gold, then silver. The endless day is finally yielding to twilight, and the first stars begin to pierce the sky. As you stand there, surrounded by the soft hum of eternity, you realize that Mercury's long day is a gift, a reminder that not all illumination is fleeting, that there is beauty in what lasts, in what endures, in what takes its time. Take one final breath. Let the warmth settle into your bones. Let the light linger in your mind. The day may end, but the glow remains. The sun will rise again, just as slowly, just as beautifully. For Mercury, there is no rush, only rhythm, and as you drift into rest, the endless day continues quiet, patient, eternal. Every world has a path, a trail carved through the silence of the cosmos, a rhythm it follows in the great celestial dance. Mercury's path, its shadowed orbit around the sun, is both delicate and defiant. It is a circle that is not quite a circle, a journey that never repeats exactly the same. It wobbles and sways, tracing a spiral through time, the mark of a traveller too close to the heart of light. You drift alongside it now, weightless, following Mercury's invisible road through space. The sun burns bright behind you, its gravity pulling at every atom of your being, but you move with the planet's rhythm steady, graceful, unhurried. From this vantage, you can see the shape of its orbit elongated, shimmering, almost alive. It stretches out like an ellipse drawn by the hand of eternity. Mercury circles the Sun every 88 Earth days, faster than any other planet. Yet it spins on its axis so slowly that a single day here lasts nearly twice that long. It is a strange relationship, one that creates a rhythm unlike anywhere else in the solar system. The Sun rises, pauses, drifts backward, and then rises again. To stand on Mercury is to watch time fold in on itself. The shadowed orbit carries more than beauty, it carries mystery. For centuries, astronomers puzzled over its motion. They charted the planet's path and found that it shifted slightly, with each revolution, not enough to see with the naked eye, but enough to make them question everything they knew. Mercury's closest point to the Sun, its perihelion, was slowly drifting forward, defying all predictions. No amount of calculation could explain it. It was only when Einstein peered into the fabric of space-time that the truth emerged. The Sun's immense gravity, he realized, does not simply pull it bends, it warps the very structure of reality around it. And Mercury, so close to that warping, dances on the edge of curved time. Its orbit precesses not because of error, but because space itself is alive. Every turn is a whisper of relativity, a conversation between light and gravity. As you follow Mercury along its path, you can almost feel that curvature. The sunlight bends softly around you, creating halos that stretch into infinity. The darkness beyond feels thicker, denser, as though it too is drawn toward the Sunday. You are moving through a landscape of invisible motion, gravity woven into light. Take a deep breath. Imagine each inhale as Mercury's forward motion, each exhale as its return. You are not outside the orbit. You are within it, part of the same rhythm. The pull of gravity, the push of light, the turning of time, all balanced in one endless flow. Beneath you, the planet gleams softly, the sun's reflection chasing across its metallic surface. The night side remains deep and still, a sea of shadows that stretches without end. It is here, in this quiet half of Mercury's journey, that reflection happens not just of light, but of thought. The shadowed orbit is the planet's rest, its reprieve, its moment to breathe. Even worlds need silence. When Mercury slips behind the sun from our view on Earth, it disappears for days, hidden in radiance, lost in light, unseen. But even then, it continues, faithfully, tracing its ellipse with the patience of eternity. There is comfort in that constancy, in knowing that even when something vanishes from sight, it does not stop existing. It only passes through shadow. You drift farther along its orbit, watching the way the sunlight fades and returns. There are moments when Mercury gleams like a star, flashing against the black, and moments when it becomes invisible, swallowed by brilliance. Both states are beautiful. Both are necessary, for what is light without shadow to reveal it? The planet's surface below shifts from gold to silver to grey. Craters catch light like mirrors, while valleys swallow it whole. Every turn of the orbit changes the face of the planet, yet its essence remains. Mercury does not change because of light or darkness. It simply endures them. It accepts both. Think of how the ancients once watched it rise at dawn, vanish in daylight, and reappear at dusk. To them, it must have seemed like two different stars, one heralding the morning, one bidding farewell to the night. They did not yet know it was the same world, tracing the same path, slipping between light and shadow like a secret messenger. The shadowed orbit teaches us that nothing truly disappears. It only transforms. The unseen is not lost, it is merely waiting to be found. Again. Take another breath. Inhale the warmth of light. Exhale into the coolness of shadow. Feel both meet at the center of your chest. You are Mercury's orbit, constant, enduring, balanced between brilliance and rest. The sun grows larger as you near the planet's closest point. The light around you bends and swirls, its gravity pulling on your path. The hum of energy fills the silence. For a moment, it feels as though time itself slows, bowing to the nearness of power. Mercury, small and strong, endures it with grace. It does not resist. It flows. It passes through the fire and emerges unchanged. And then, as the orbit continues, the planet drifts outward again, away from the furnace, into calm. The temperature drops, the light softens, and the stars return. The curve is complete, but not final. The journey never truly ends. It only repeats in endless variation. You realize then that Mercury's shadowed orbit is not a perfect loop, but a spiral through time. Each revolution brings it slightly forward, slightly new. It is not trapped in repetition. It is evolving, subtly, quietly. And so are you. The universe does not demand perfection, only motion, only continuation, the grace to keep circling even when the path shifts, the courage to move through brilliance and shadow alike. As Mercury completes its turn and begins the next, the sun remains, eternal and unmoving, yet always changing. The light that touches the planet today will take 10,000 years to reach you again, in some other form, through some other world. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. Breathe once more, slowly. Feel yourself orbiting too around thoughts, around memories, around peace. The sun within you burns steadily. The shadow cools it to balance. You are both flame and calm, motion and stillness. The shadowed orbit continues, infinite and serene, carrying the smallest planet through the heart of light. And as you watch it move unwavering, faithful, graceful, you find, and your own stillness within that motion. In the silence between breaths, between heartbeats, between orbits, the universe waits, and it whispers, keep turning, keep shining, keep moving through the shadow and into the light. Far beyond the glow of Mercury's horizon, where the sun blazes eternal and the stars fade into gold, a new traveller begins its descent. Its path is silent, its motion graceful. Another messenger has come, a vessel of light and intention, following in the path of those that came before. Where humanity once sent messenger to whisper to Mercury, now another craft journeys through the cosmic tide. Bepi Colombo, a name born of Earth. Destined for the smallest planet, you drift beside it now, moving through the radiant silence of space. The sun burns bright ahead, its light glinting off the craft's silver panels. There is no sound but the hum of motion, no voice but the soft rhythm of orbit. Each turn of the spacecraft's panels, each pulse of its engines, is a note in a quiet song written for a world of silence. Bepi Colombo travels with patience. It does not rush toward its destination. Instead, it loops gracefully through the inner solar system, borrowing the gravity of Earth, Venus, and the Sun to slow its descent. For 6 long years it drifts, tracing a spiral that narrows with each orbit, like a slow exhale toward Mercury's waiting light. It is a collaboration between 2 worlds, Europe and Japan, a symbol of humanity's shared curiosity, built to listen, to measure, to remember. Where Messenger once glimpsed Mercury's mysteries, Bepi Colombo will dwell longer, hear deeper, and see in ways no eye has seen before. The mission carries 2 travelers within it, 2 orbiters, each with a purpose. One to study the surface, the other to map the magnetic heartbeat of the planet. Together, they will listen for the echoes beneath the crust, trace the whispers of the solar wind, and measure the delicate balance between fire and silence. They will not disturb Mercury, they will learn from it. You follow the spacecraft as it nears its goal. Mercury grows larger in your vision, not hostile, not empty, but patient, like a teacher waiting for a pupil to arrive. The light around it bends, sharp and golden. Shadows stretch in intricate patterns, outlining the scars and beauty of an ancient world. The orbiters slow, adjusting their path with faint bursts of blue ion flame, a technology that hums softly, powered by sunlight itself. When they finally enter Mercury's embrace, it feels like a reunion. Humanity has returned to its smallest neighbour, not to conquer, but to listen. The instruments unfold like petals. Cameras awaken, sensors stir. For the first time in years, Mercury is no longer alone in its orbit. The data begins to flow, streams of light transformed into numbers, whispers turned into meaning. Beneath those numbers lie stories of magnetism, of minerals, of memories buried deep. Every byte is a fragment of connection, a bridge between silence and understanding. You imagine the scientists back on Earth, their eyes lit by screens, their minds reaching across millions of kilometers. To them, each signal is a heartbeat, each transmission a voice calling from the edge of the sun's domain. They are not explorers of territory, but of knowledge dreamers who listen through the static of space to hear the universe breathing. Take a slow breath with them now. Inhale the arrival. Exhale the stillness. You are part of that connection. Every breath you take is an orbit, a rhythm shared with worlds beyond your reach. Bepi Colombo's orbit settles into harmony. The twin spacecraft circle Mercury in tandem, tracing invisible paths through light and shadow. They measure the faint tug of the sun's gravity, the delicate curl of magnetic lines, the unseen particles that dance in solar wind. It is a ballet of precision, a choreography too fine for human eyes, yet deeply human in its purpose. And through it all, Mercury remains silent. It offers no sound, no movement, only presence. Yet, that presence is everything. It teaches by being, not by speaking. It reveals through reflection, not through noise. Scientists once believed Mercury was static, lifeless, unchanged. But Bepi Colombo shows otherwise. Its instruments detect subtle movements, shifts in the magnetic field, traces of radiation bouncing off unseen particles, whispers of interaction between the planet and the sun's endless wind. Even here, in a world of silence, there is conversation. As the spacecraft passes over the poles, it glimpses the frozen craters again, the still ice beneath perpetual night. It scans the Calorus Basin, its ancient scars gleaming faintly. It listens to the planet's faint hum, the echo of molten metal still turning below the crust. And in that listening, humanity rediscovers humility. To study Mercury is to study endurance. It is to understand what it means to survive, not through abundance, but through adaptation. The planet does not thrive despite hardship. It is its hardship, made beautiful through time. You float there, watching the craft orbit in silence. Its panels catch the sunlight, glowing like wings of glass. It seems fragile, impossibly small against the vastness of the sun, and yet it persists. Its mission is not one of glory, but of patience, the same patience that Mercury itself embodies. As months turn to years, Bepi Colombo will continue to circle the smallest planet, gathering knowledge, tracing light, and recording silence. And when its mission ends, as all missions must, it will leave behind more than data. It will leave behind understanding the most human gift of all. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the faint hum of those distant instruments, the soft rhythm of solar winds brushing against metal. Imagine the sunlight glinting across Mercury's ridges, the shadows stretching endlessly. Feel that peace. Settle in your chest, the peace of knowing that exploration does not always mean motion. Sometimes it means stillness. Breathe deeply. Inhale the light. Exhale the silence. The messenger has returned, and with it, the story continues. A story of connection, of wonder, of listening. Humanity's voice has reached Mercury again, but this time it speaks in whispers. And Mercury, as always, listens. Every world remembers. Though it has no voice, no mind, no language, it carries memory in the patterns of its surface, in the quiet turning of its orbit, in the stories written in its stone. Mercury's memory is not loud. It is silent and patient, etched across eons in craters, ridges, and light. You drift now above that ancient world once more. The sun rises slowly behind you, spilling gold across Mercury's surface. From this height, you can see everything: the soft curve of the horizon, the delicate shadows stretching for miles, the craters like fingerprints pressed into metal. Each one is a record, a trace of something that once was. A moment captured forever in silence. Mercury has seen the universe in its infancy. It has felt the shock of creation, the violence of bombardment, the slow cooling of worlds. It has been scarred by time, reshaped by heat, and yet it endures. Its memory is carved not in words, but in endurance itself. Take a slow breath. Inhale the warmth of the light. Exhale the dust of ages. Let yourself feel that same stillness, that patience beyond time. The oldest craters on Mercury date back nearly 4 billion years. Each one is a story frozen in stone, a record of the chaos that once filled the solar system. Back then, the planets were still finding their rhythm. Asteroids and comets collided endlessly, scattering fragments across the newborn worlds. Mercury was struck again and again, each impact reshaping its surface, each scar adding another layer to its memory. The Caloris Basin, vast and circular, tells one of the oldest stories of all. Formed by an impact so great it sent shockwaves across the entire planet, it created mountains on the opposite side, the antipodal terrain, a landscape of twisted ridges and fractures born from the planet's very bones. Even now, billions of years later, those ripples remain. The planet remembers. From orbit, you trace those scars with your eyes. They wind across the plains like lines of script, a language of stone. If you could read it, it might say, "I was here. I endured. I remain." The memory continues beneath the surface. Deep within Mercury's crust lies the record of volcanic plains that once flowed like molten rivers. There was a time when the planet glowed red with lava, when its heart pulsed with fire, when its surface reshaped itself again and again. That time is gone now, but the echoes remain trapped within layers of basalt, whispering of a youth long past. And below even that, in the core, the memory continues to turn. The molten metal still stirs, faintly, as if remembering the heat of creation. Its motion gives birth to a magnetic field, Mercury's faint heartbeat. Even now, that pulse continues, a rhythm that has persisted since the dawn of the solar system. Imagine listening to it, the slow hum of a world remembering, not a sound, but a feeling, a vibration in the soul of the universe. As you drift closer, you notice something else. The surface of Mercury is changing, not quickly, not dramatically, but subtly. Tiny impacts still occur, micrometeorites, grains of dust no larger than sand, strike the planet every moment, adding new lines to the story. Even silence evolves. Scientists say that Mercury's surface is covered in a fine layer of dust called regolith, a blanket of tiny fragments that glisten under the sunday. Each grain has been shattered and reformed countless times, mixed and remixed by billions of years of impacts. The ground itself is memory, a record of every event, every motion, every whisper of the cosmos that has ever touched it. You float above a crater rim and let your gaze wander. There are no signs of wind, no erosion, no water to wash the marks away. Everything that has ever happened here is still visible. The planet is its own archive, every scar preserved, every shadow unbroken. It remembers what the rest of the universe forgets. There's something sacred in that. To hold memory so gently, to never erase, to never rush to change. Mercury reminds us that endurance is a form of remembrance, that to survive is to remember. Take another deep breath. Let that thought settle. You, too, are a landscape of memory. Every heartbeat, every breath, every silence is a mark of what you have endured. You are the regolith of your own experiences, shaped by time, softened by light, and still standing beneath the weight of the sunday. As you continue to drift across the horizon, the light begins to change. The long day leans toward twilight. The shadows stretch farther, and the colours deepen from silver to gold to violet. It feels as though the planet itself is sighing, a soft exhale after an eternity of holding its breath. You glance toward the horizon and see the stars beginning to emerge. Venus glows faintly nearby, and far beyond, Earth twinkles like a pale blue star. From here, both look fragile, brief sparks of motion against the deep stillness. Mercury watches them without judgment. It has seen countless nights, countless alignments. It remembers them all. Somewhere beneath your feet, that molten core continues to hum. Its rhythm has not changed in billions of years. It is the same rhythm that pulses through the sun, through the orbits of planets, through the tides of light and time. It is the rhythm of existence itself, quiet, steady, eternal. You breathe with it now. Inhale, exhale, the soundless music of endurance. Perhaps that is Mercury's greatest gift, to teach us how to remember without sorrow. Its scars are not wounds, they are wisdom. Its silence is not emptiness, it is patience. Its solitude is not loneliness, it is peace. As you rise higher, the sun comes into full view again, massive and golden, pouring light over the planet's scars. The craters gleam, the ridges glow, and for a moment the entire world looks like a mirror reflecting time itself. You realize that memory is not something we carry, it is something we are. The universe does not forget because it never stops being what it has been. Every orbit, every scar, every breath, all are part of a single, endless story. You close your eyes and let that story flow through you. The hum of the core becomes your heartbeat. The rotation of the planet becomes your breath. The warmth of the sun becomes your calm. And as you drift deeper into rest, Mercury turns slowly beneath you, its memory unwinding like a song soft, ancient, unbroken. The smallest planet, the oldest witness, the keeper of silence, and still it remembers. There is a kind of silence that glows. It is not the silence of emptiness, nor of absence, but of stillness so perfect that it feels alive. On Mercury, that silence shines. It radiates through the airless plains, reflects from the golden ridges, and hums within the deep black sky. It is not quiet because nothing happens. It is quiet because everything is in balance. You drift gently into that silence now. The sun has risen fully above the horizon, vast and golden, its light pouring across the planet like molten glass. The surface glows faintly, and shadows are sharp enough to look like sculptures cut from light. There is no wind, no sound, no atmosphere to carry a single vibration, and yet it feels full, as if the world is holding its breath in awe of its own brilliance. Take a slow, deep breath with it. Inhale the glow, exhale the stillness. You are part of this balance, part of this perfect calm. Mercury's silence is not the same as the emptiness of space. It is grounded a silence with texture and form, like silk stretched across eternity. It does not echo, but it listens. The world seems to lean inward, attending to the soft hum of existence itself. You can almost feel it, the faint vibration of the sun's radiation brushing against the surface, the invisible pulse of heat moving through rock and dust. The planet listens to its star, and in doing so becomes an instrument of light. Long ago, when the first telescopes turned toward Mercury, astronomers believed it was locked, one face forever staring at the sun, the other forever hidden in shadow. They thought it was a world divided between fire and frost. But in truth, Mercury spins, slow and patient, letting every part of itself feel the sun's warmth. It shares its silence equally between light and darkness. You imagine standing on that glowing plain. The sunlight falls heavy and pure. Your shadow stretches endlessly, sharp against the dust. There is no air to blur its edges, no breeze to disturb its shape. Every movement you make is etched perfectly onto the ground, as if even motion cannot escape the precision of silence. The light is steady, unflinching. It does not flicker or waver. It is pure, unwavering truth, the kind that reveals everything and hides nothing. And in that honesty there is peace. You cannot pretend before the Sunday. You can only be. Take another slow breath. Feel the warmth sink into your chest. Let your mind rest in that brightness, the way Mercury rests in its orbit balanced between pull and release. The temperature here would destroy any life as we know it. The stones themselves hold more heat than a desert at noon. Yet, somehow, it feels gentle. The heat does not burn, it envelops. It is not punishment, but presence, the simple truth of being near the source. The silence deepens as you move across the plain. Each step feels like floating, as if gravity itself is softened by the light. The horizon seems to shimmer, distant and unreal. Above, The black sky stretches infinitely, a vast sea of nothing that somehow contains everything. You can see stars even in daylight, faint pinpricks beyond the gold. The contrast between light and darkness is breathtaking. Both exist at once, and neither wins. This is what silence means on Mercury coexistence. Not absence, but harmony. As you look closer, the surface reveals its subtle motion. Heat ripples shimmer like invisible tides, bending the light into waves. Shadows breathe in slow rhythm, lengthening and contracting as the planet turns. Even in stillness, there is movement. Even in silence, there is song. You begin to hear it now, not with your ears, but with your awareness. The quiet tone of sunlight on stone, the faint hum of the planet's core spinning far below, the whisper of solar wind brushing past its magnetic field. It is a symphony of silence, the most delicate music in the cosmos. Close your eyes, let it wash over you. Feel the warmth on your skin, the vibration in your bones. Every atom of your being hums in tune with the planet's rhythm. The silence is not something to escape, it is something to enter. This sunlit stillness stretches endlessly forward. Time feels suspended. The long day continues, and you feel as though you could live here forever, unmoving, untouched, complete. Mercury's silence carries a wisdom older than words. It does not need to shout its truth, it simply shines. It teaches without voice, reminding us that the most profound moments in existence are often those where nothing happens, where being is enough. Think of how light travels from the Sunday. It crosses 93 million miles to reach Earth, but Mercury receives it first. Every ray that warms a human face has already touched this quiet world. It has already passed through silence. You open your eyes again and gaze toward the horizon. The light there is softer now, tinted with pale amber. The sun has moved slightly, though it takes weeks for it to truly cross the sky. The shadows stretch farther, coolness returning to the rocks. Mercury's patience is immeasurable. The silence shifts, no longer glowing with the heat of day, but shimmering with evening calm. You can almost sense the boundary between light and darkness approaching, the slow turning of the planet revealing its hidden half. It is not frightening. It is comforting the way a blanket covers you at night, gentle and complete. Take one more deep breath. Inhale the warmth of the Sunday. Exhale into the coolness of space. Feel both inside you, balanced perfectly. In the end, silence is not emptiness. It is the space where everything belongs, light and shadow, movement and rest, sound and stillness. Mercury knows this. It has always known. As you drift farther from the surface, the planet shrinks below, glowing like a soft pearl suspended in the golden sea of sunlight. Its silence follows you, a gift, a memory, a reminder that peace is not the absence of noise, but the presence of stillness. The sunlit silence endures timeless, radiant, eternal, and within it you find yourself small, luminous, and utterly calm. The day wanes on Mercury. Slowly, gently, the golden glow that has filled the world for weeks begins to fade. The horizon deepens into amber and rose, and the shadows stretch until they merge with one another, folding the landscape into darkness. Here, sunset is not a moment, it is an era, a slow, tender farewell between light and stone. You hover above the fading plains, watching as the last sunlight brushes the ridges and craters. Each glimmer lingers a little longer before it surrenders to the night. The heat begins to retreat, sliding back into the rocks and dust. leaving behind a silence colder than before. It is not emptiness, but stillness, the hush that follows revelation. Take a deep breath. Inhale the warmth that remains. Exhale into the cool of twilight. Feel the shift, the slow turning of a world from brilliance into shadow. The sun dips closer to the horizon, its light thick and honeyed. The surface, once blazing silver, now glows faintly red, as though the planet itself is exhaling after a long breath. The temperature begins to fall, not quickly, but steadily. On Mercury, night descends like the closing of ancient eyes, patient, deliberate, inevitable. You can feel the beauty in the change. Every world has its rhythm, its ebb and flow, its balance between giving and receiving. For Mercury, this rhythm is drawn out across weeks, a slow dance between light and shadow. The dying light is not an end, it is a continuation, a passage into rest. As you drift lower, you see the sun flatten against the horizon, its immense form shimmering in waves of refracted light. The airless sky bends its rays into surreal shapes. The sun seems to stretch and multiply, as if it cannot bear to leave. But it must. Every flame needs shadow to define its glow. In the silence of Mercury's evening, something miraculous happens. The stars return. One by one, they pierce the sky, faint at first, then brighter. The constellations come alive, not twinkling as they do from Earth, but shining steady and clear. Without atmosphere to blur their light, each star is perfect, a precise point of infinity. The sky fills with history. Orion, Perseus, the distant glimmer of the Milky Way's river of light, and there too is Earth, a pale blue spark hovering near the edge of perception. You realize how fragile and beautiful it looks, that little world suspended in the endless dark. It is home, but from here it feels like a dream, fleeting, precious. Mercury watches it without envy, only understanding. Every world, after all, carries its own kind of beauty. Every orbit its own peace. The surface beneath you darkens fully now. The long shadows merge into one another, forming a blanket of silver grey. The heat that once shimmered through the ground has escaped into space, leaving the rocks cold, colder than ice. The silence deepens. You can almost hear it hum. There is something comforting in the cold. It reminds you that light and warmth are never permanent, that everything glows brightest before it fades. Mercury knows this truth better than any world. For billions of years it has watched the sun rise and fall, has endured extremes of fire and frost, and still it continues to turn. Its survival is not defiance, it is acceptance. Take another slow breath. Let the coolness fill your lungs. Let the quiet cradle you. Above the horizon, the sun has nearly vanished now. Only a thin line of gold remains, like the edge of a candle's flame before it flickers out. It stretches across the craters and cliffs, catching on the ridges one last time before fading into black. The darkness does not fall all at once. It grows gradually, tenderly, until it wraps the planet completely. And then true night. The stars gleam brighter than you have ever seen. The constellations burn steady against the void. The Milky Way cuts across the sky like a frozen river of light, so sharp it feels as though you could reach out and touch it. In this clarity, the cosmos feels close, intimate, vast, alive. You float there, between the dying light and the newborn dark, and feel peace wash over you. This is not an ending. It is a renewal, the necessary rest after brilliance. Every world must sleep. Even Mercury, closest to the sun, must surrender to its own shadow. From the planet's poles, the frozen craters glint faintly. They catch the starlight, holding it like treasures. Even in darkness there is reflection. Even in silence there is song. You imagine standing there, beneath the infinite night, the ground beneath you firm and cold, the stars above unblinking. There is no sound, no air, no time, only you, and the universe breathing together. Perhaps the dying light is not death at all. Perhaps it is transformation, the shift between awareness and rest, between wakefulness and dream. Just as the body drifts towards sleep, so too does Mercury drift toward its long, peaceful night. The surface cools further, reaching temperatures hundreds of degrees below zero. The heat has fled, but its memory remains in the stones, just as warmth lingers in the heart long after the fire is gone. You can almost feel it, that faint echo of the day's glow, pulsing softly beneath the surface. You take one last look toward the horizon. The sun is gone, but its light remains in your mind, golden, eternal, soft. The darkness does not frighten you. It feels like a blanket, woven from the same starlight that has travelled across ages to reach you. Mercury's long night begins. For weeks, the planet will sleep beneath its stars, wrapped in shadow, until the sun rises once more. It will not rush, it will not stir. It will rest deeply, completely. Take a breath. Let yourself rest with it. Let your thoughts fade into silence. Let your body soften, your heartbeat slow. The dying light fades, but it is not gone. It is simply waiting, patient as Mercury itself, for the dawn to come again. And as you drift into your own night, your own quiet darkness, remember even the smallest world near the fiercest sun knows how to rest. Light must fade to return. And so must you. The long night on Mercury endures a vast expanse of silence and shadow. For weeks, the sun remains hidden, the planet wrapped in a deep, unbroken calm. The darkness here is not like the darkness of Earth. It is absolute. It is ancient and infinite, a velvet sea that swallows all sound, all motion, yet within that stillness something stirs, not movement, but anticipation. You drift quietly above the frozen horizon. The surface below glimmers faintly with starlight, silver dust scattered across a canvas of stone. The craters shine like mirrors, reflecting the faint glow of distant suns. It is a kind of peace that few worlds ever know, the perfect rest before awakening. Take a slow, deep breath. Inhale the cool, weightless quiet. Exhale the remnants of thought. You are suspended in the pause between endings and beginnings. The planet turns ever so slightly. Its slow rotation carries the night toward its inevitable transformation. And there, on the edge of the horizon, you see it the faintest blush of gold, the first whisper of dawn. It is not sudden. It never is here. The light creeps gently, cautiously, as though it too is awakening from slumber. It glides across the edge of the world, tracing the ridges of craters, touching the frozen plains with hesitant fingers. The darkness recoils not in fear, but in acceptance. Night has served its purpose, now it yields to the day. You watch as the first rays stretch across the horizon, thin as silk. The sky, once pitch black, begins to soften. A pale glow spreads outward, colouring the dust in shades of rose and amber. The ice at the poles gleams briefly, then fades as the warmth begins to return. The transformation is slow, deliberate, serene, the rebirth of light. Take another breath. Inhale the dawn, exhale the night. Feel the shift within yourself. On Mercury, the return of dawn is not a single moment, it is an unfolding symphony that lasts for days. The sun, massive and close, rises in slow motion. It does not blaze, it emerges. The horizon burns softly, and the first curve of the sun appears, shimmering with gold so bright it seems alive. The light spreads like liquid, pouring into every valley and crater. Shadows retreat inch by inch, curling back into the stone. The rocks glow faintly, then fiercely, reflecting the sun's return. And yet, even in this brilliance, the silence remains undisturbed, unbroken, perfect. You descend closer to the surface, feeling the warmth return. The dust beneath glitters with renewed fire, each grain catching the light. The temperature rises, slow and steady, awakening the ancient metal beneath your feet. The planet breathes again. There is no sound, but if there were, you imagine it would be the soft exhale of the universe itself, the sigh of creation reborn. Every dawn, even here, is a miracle. As the sun climbs higher, the stars begin to fade. They do not vanish, they step back, content to let the day shine. The sky becomes a void of light, black still, but luminous. The horizon blurs under the golden weight of the Sunday. You can almost feel its pull, the soft gravity of warmth returning after the long cold. Mercury has no clouds to filter the glow. Every ray touches the surface directly, unsoftened, pure. The light seems to hum, vibrating through the rocks, filling the craters with radiance. You can feel it in your chest, that hum of renewal, that pulse of life returning. This is not a sunrise to watch, it is a sunrise to feel. The dawn does not simply appear, it inhabits you. Every heartbeat syncs with the rhythm of the planet's awakening. Every breath aligns with its slow rotation. The sun and Mercury move together, and you, caught between them, become part of their eternal exchange. The warmth deepens. The shadows dissolve completely, leaving the world drenched in gold. The craters that once glowed silver under starlight now shimmer with a brilliance that feels almost divine. The sun, enormous and near, fills the sky not as a threat, but as a presence. Its light is not punishment, it is promise. You feel your body loosen in the warmth, the last remnants of night fading from your thoughts. This is what Mercury teaches, that even after the longest shadow, light returns. Always. Without fail, without rush. Take one more slow breath. Inhale the new day. Exhale the memory of the night. Feel the balance between them, the continuity, the peace. The planet turns onward, steady in its rhythm. The sun's reflection dances across the ridges, tracing patterns like ancient calligraphy. If you listen, you can almost hear the words it writes, not in sound, but in meaning. Endurance, renewal, grace. You rise higher now, watching as the full face of Mercury gleams beneath you. From this height, the world looks alive, glowing, breathing, shimmering beneath the light it was born to receive. The sun's energy pulses through its stones, through its silence, through its orbit. The planet is awake again. Somewhere far above, the spacecraft still circles, listening, recording, bearing witness. Humanity's quiet eyes on this ancient world. The signals they send are faint, yet steady, each one carrying the same message: we are still here. As the dawn completes its rise, the darkness fully retreats. The horizon burns white gold now, the light unbroken. The new day has come, as it has for billions of years, as it will for billions more. Mercury turns beneath the sun, unchanged and eternal. You take one last look, memorizing the view, the still plains, the glowing cliffs, the golden dust, the silence, the peace, the endless motion of light and shadow that defines this little world. And then, softly, you begin to drift away. The sun grows smaller, the planet more distant. Yet you carry its warmth within you, a reminder of what you've seen, that even the smallest planet closest to the fiercest flame knows how to rest and how to rise again. You close your eyes, the glow lingers behind your eyelids. Your breathing slows. The hum of Mercury's rotation fades into the rhythm of your own heartbeat. You feel the boundary between waking and sleep blur until you are weightless, floating between light and dark, between day and night. The dawn continues without you, as it always will. The world turns, the light returns, the silence endures, and you, too, are part of that eternal rhythm. Rest now. Drift with Mercury as it circles the Sunday. The night has passed, the light has returned, and all is well. Good night, traveller, until the next orbit, sleep among the stars.